Hello everyone, welcome to Codeville Web Development Tutorial Series. My name is Umar, a programmer, a web developer, and an animator at Codeville. So in this course, we are going to learn how to build complete functional website from scratch, step by step. We'll start with HTML to understand the structure of web pages, then move on to CSS to style and design them beautifully. After that, we'll use Bootstrap to create responsive layouts that work well on mobile, tablets, and desktop screens. Next, we'll dive into JavaScript to add interactivity and make our websites dynamic. Then we'll move into PHP for server-side programming. And finally, to store and manage data in a database using MySQL. So to get started, all you need is a computer, a code editor like the Visual Studio Code, and a web browser, preferably Google Chrome, so you can write, run, and test your code easily. So I'll be using the VS Code and Chrome throughout this series. So note that this series is designed for beginners and anyone who wants to strengthen their web development skills, and I'll explain everything in a simple and practical way with real examples and projects. So whether you are completely new or you already have some experience, you're in the right place. So let's start. First of all, let's create a new folder. So I'm going to rename this folder as HTML. So you can name this folder to any name you want. So I will name this as HTML. So let's click on our Visual Studio Code. Let's open our Visual Studio Code. So if you have this, welcome to VS Code. So we're going to be saving our file, our HTML files or documents inside this folder, this HTML folder. So to do that, let's go back to our VS Code, click on File, New File, or you can click Ctrl N. Ctrl N opens a new file on the VS Code. That's the shortcuts. And let's save this, Ctrl S. You can save this as Ctrl S, or you can just simply come here and then click on Save. So I'm going to name this as index. Index is the name of the file or the HTML file, HTML document I'm going to create. So let's save this file as what? We can't save it as a plain text because it's just a plain text. It's a HTML document. So let's save it as HTML. So we're going to save this as HTML. So now we have the index.html file. Now this index.html file being saved here. Let's open this. We have our file here. Now here it is, our HTML file. So you can click this and you see it's going to be empty. There's nothing there. It's empty. Okay. So let's go back to our VS Code and let's simply make a brief introduction on HTML. What is HTML? We are going to write some HTML code, but firstly, we need to understand what HTML is. HTML is the standard markup language for creating web pages. So HTML on its own stands for Hypertext Markup Language. HTML, like I said, stands for Hypertext Markup Language. So HTML describes the structure of a web page. It consists of series of elements and it tells the browser how to display the contents. It tells the browser how to display the contents. So HTML elements label pieces of content, such as maybe this is my heading, or this is a heading, or this is a paragraph, or this is a link, and so on. So we're simply going to create a HTML document, a simple HTML document. So let's start doc type HTML. So let's say HTML. Let's open a head, a title. So in the title, I am just going to say a Codeville Web Development. So we have our body here, and I'm simply going to create H1. Let me just say my first heading, and okay, let's open a P and say my first paragraph. Oh, sorry, my first paragraph. Now always remember to save your code. Always remember to save your code. I'm simply going to explain these lines of codes, starting from the first here, which is the doc type. The doc type elements, sorry, the doc type, the HTML doc type, or the doc type HTML declaration. It's actually a declaration. So the doc type HTML declaration defines that the document is an HTML5 document. It's just telling us that, yes, this is the HTML5 document. Now, the HTML element is the root element of an HTML page. This is the root element of an HTML page. Now we have the head. The head element contains meta information about the HTML page. Now we have the title. The title element specifies a title for the HTML page. Like I said, you can use any title here. So it specifies the title for an HTML page, which is shown in the browser's title bar. So I'm going to show you our output, and then you can see it for yourself. Then we have the body. So the body element defines the document's body and is a container for all the visible contents, such as the headings, the paragraphs, images, hyperlinks, tables, lists, and so on. Then we have the H1 elements. H1 elements defines a large heading, and we have the P elements defines a paragraph. So we keep saying elements, HTML elements. What is this HTML elements? So an HTML element is defined by a start tag, some contents, and an end tag. Look at this. This is a start tag. This is your content, and this is your end tag. So the HTML element is everything from the start tag to the end tag. Simple, isn't it? So H1 is the start tag. I take it again. My first heading is the element content, and this is the end tag, closing of H1. Now you close it by using a / and then the H1 here. So note, some HTML elements do not have, some HTML elements have no content. Yes. So for example, we have the BR tag or the BR element. It has no content. So these elements are called empty elements because there's no content. It has no content, so they are called empty elements. Empty elements do not have an end tag, meaning you don't need to close an empty element. Like here, we need to close this, we need to close this, we need to close our heading, we need to close our body, we need to close our HTML. But for an empty element, they do not have an end tag. We don't need to close it. So I'm simply going to move to explain why it's important for us to close our tags, our HTML tags. So unexpected results and errors may occur if you forget to end tag, meaning you forget to end the tag. You open a tag and you forget to end it here, maybe empty or something. Now, unexpected errors may occur from that. So we are not going to, it's important, it's very important to remember, always remember to close your tags. So now let's try and view this on our browser. We just wrote a line of code. Now let's see this from our browser. Now click on refresh. Wow, we have this Codeville Web Development. Yeah, Codeville Web Development, which is our title. We already have this Codeville Web Development. Like I said, this is the content. This is what the browser is going to show you. The browser is not going to show you the codes. So we're going to show you the contents. And HTML tells the browser what to display and how to display this. It's very important for us to know. So my first heading, as your heading, you can see this is clearly a heading and this is a paragraph. So this is our first code. So now let's explain this empty element. Let's go back to this empty element that we explained earlier. Now, I said HTML elements with no contents, they are called empty elements. And I gave an example of this element like the BR tags. So the BR tag defines a line break. It defines a line break and is empty element without a closing tag. Say it again. So for example, maybe I can, let's say I say this is a paragraph with a line break. This is a paragraph with a line break. Now save. Let's see. This is a paragraph with a line break. Oh, okay. This is a paragraph with a line break, but there's no break. We can't really see a break. There's no break here, so let's add a break to this. This is where we use the BR tag. Now the BR tag is going to break this line into two. This is a paragraph with a line break. So you can as well make use of this anywhere, any part of your content. So maybe here you can just say, this is your BR tag, then paragraph with a line break. So you can see how the BR tag works. So we say BR tag, we don't close this. We don't have this. No. Just this. So it is an empty element. So BR is an empty element. The BR tag is an empty element, and we do not close this. So it's also important for us to know that HTML is not case sensitive. HTML is not case sensitive. What we mean by case sensitive is like, for example, we have these P elements. So let's say we use uppercase P instead of lowercase p. We're still going to have the same results. We're going to obtain the same result. You can see it's the same thing. So whether we use the uppercase or the lowercase, we're going to obtain the same results. So in other words, HTML tags are not case sensitive. So you can as well take your time and make sure you go through all these lines of codes. And if you find or you have any problem, you can drop your questions. If you have any question, you can drop your question in the comment section. So that's all for this episode. So in the next episode, we are simply going to talk about the HTML attributes. the HTML attributes. So if you found this helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next lesson. Thank you.